Batman Chris. Just yeah. Jaja, Charido.
It's your boy Eldridge.
And it's Squall boy, yeah. Wine for the dough. Girl, I want you wine for the dough. Wine for the dough. Make your booty bounce for the chest. I wanna give you good loving, I don't wanna buy 10 flow. Your love like chicken fella, baby Jack and she clever. So girl, you all I want and all I need, oh. I'm loving you, you loving me, oh. And love that we were meant to be, oh. And I am my beep, cause you got me high. Cause you got me high. Your body on course, loving you is of course. Yeah, my baby on a note. Come to my room, let me compose. Yeah, your body on course, loving you is of course. Yeah, my baby on a note. Come to my room, let me compose. Yeah.
She your body bad and we know so. The way you slay, everything gon' flick. And I want your body right now,
Goddamn, I'm so complete.
You got the juice, you got the sauce, we know. They say they bad, nobody bad out. Come show me love, come spot the dada. Rock all the waves for me and Jaja. Girl, I want you, come give me love, come give me loving. Come give me kiss, come do the rubbing. Show me the star, no to my talking. Oh, rock here and create and we do the
ball. You got me high. You got me high. Your body on course, loving you is of course. Yeah, my baby on a note. Come to my room, let me compose. Yeah, your body on course, loving you is of course. Yeah, my baby on a note. Come to my room, let me compose. Yeah. You got me wishing, yeah, wishing every day just to be with you. Baby, wait for me, yeah. I wanna take you go far away to the moon. The way your body go, wine for me slow, baby, kill the show. Yeah. And girl, I wanna know anything you need, baby, let me know. Yeah. Jelly, Adam with Eve, you made me ill apple. Tashi on my love, take it to the auto. Got me in the market, asking for tinapa. Fire your penny in my head, man, you shot shooter. Break, and slow one for me. Anytime you want, just call me. Turn around, dance for me. Told me the ball for your love, then you got me high. You got me high. Your body on course, loving you is of course. Yeah, my baby on a note. Come to my room, let me compose. Yeah, your body on course, loving you is of course. Yeah, my baby on a note. Come to my room, let me compose. Yeah.
Begin at tuneslikebeer.com.
She plays down her baby. Morning sun that brighten up my day. I'm in love with you and girl, I want you to stay. If I tell you I'm in love with you, tell me you feel the same. So stay. Baby, oh, you know that I want you. And I will never ever break your heart, though. Baby, oh, you know that I want you. And I will never ever break your heart, though. You body happy, the one for me. My medicine, my only medicine. You are the happy, the one for me. My medicine, my only medicine. Yeah, I love you, baby. Hey. God, I love you, baby. God bless the day I'm born you. Oh. I feel good when I'm around you. Oh. Yeah. Baby girl, love you not ever know. You stole my heart, but I let it go. Yeah. Just to prove my love all the time I lie. If I break your heart, then let me die. Baby, oh, you know that I want you. And I will never ever break your heart, though. Baby, oh, you know that I want you. And I will never ever break your heart, though. I love you, baby. Hey, hey, hey. God, I love you, baby. Hey, hey, hey. LEC is up. You brought me life. You are my life. You are my love, yeah. When I needed love, you brought me love. You are my love. You are my love, yeah. Baby, oh, you know that I want you. And I will never ever break your heart, though. I love you, baby. Hey, hey, hey. God, I love you, baby. Hey, hey,
We all know the headache we go through sending money to our loved ones, friends, and family in Liberia. High fees, long lines in banks, the usual complaint of the system being down, such a waste of time and energy. That is why I was very happy when I learned that Sendwave is now in Liberia. So now I can send money anytime from anywhere directly from my smartphone to the MTN Lone Star Cell mobile money account of a loved one, friend, or family within seconds for just a tiny fee. So download Sendwave now to your phone from your Apple Store or Google Play Store. Add your details, and don't worry, they are very safe and secure. And start sending money today. Don't forget to insert the promo code COSTA to get free $5 credit added to your first transfer. Sendwave is secure, super fast, and by far the most affordable way to send money to Liberia. I'm Henry P. Costa and a very happy customer. Thank you.
It is Friday, the 14th day of the 7-month AD 2023. Today is the last day of candidate registration at the National Elections Commission. So if you want to be a part of the process, you want to be a representative, you want to be a senator, or you want to be president, vice president, today is the last day. Today at 5 p.m., everything will climax at the National Elections Commission. So folks, I just thought it wise to let you know about that. So you have a few more hours. Yeah, it's just after 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have few more hours to go and do your registration at the National Elections Commission. And yeah, there have been a lot of people we have seen that have gone through that process. We saw the former vice president and Jeremiah Kuhn. They did their registration. President Josh Manuel we are in. Vice President Joe Howard Taylor, they did that process. We saw Mr. Alexander Cummins and that's Councilor Charlene Bronskin have done the process already, and Councilor Gonglo and Yuri also did their process. So it's left with others. Yeah, a lot of people too have done. They have gone through the process. It's left with you. Please, if you want to be a part of the process, go and do your registration. From now till 5 p.m. is the deadline. So you still have time in your favor. You can go about doing your registration and be a part of the process. So, so like I said, today is the final day for candidate registration. Those that will be partaking in the upcoming 2023 October 10th election. So, once again, let me say good morning, good evening, good welcome to our show this morning. We have few things to look at. Like I said, our panelists will be joining in on us later on the show. So today is Friday, and I will just take the time to look at the youthful generation in politics. Yeah, the youthful generation in politics. That's just what I want to look at this morning. And before, as we await our guys to join in, the issue about support base. Okay, people Kalibo Gonglo is here with us. I don't know if you are getting prepped up. Mr. Gonglo, are you there?
Yeah, I will come on soon.
Okay, all right. So as things get set up, I was just talking about the youthful generation and how they go about supporting their political leaders. And we know that everybody in Liberia, you can be a young person, you can be an older person. We all do have a political attachment. But for the way some of our youth go about supporting their candidate and bad-mouthing other candidates, the issue about politics is this. It's about how you can get somebody on board your team. But from an observation, instead of you convincing people to come on board your team, we go about bad-mouthing other candidates and making it look like our candidates are the best. Our candidates don't have any bad record. Our candidates don't have any team character or whatsoever, but they are the best, and then we are castigating others. Most especially on the social media. you will see folks from the Unity Party will be calling folks from the ANC party, let me say CPP, Standard Bearer, Mr. Cummings, they'll be calling them all sort of names. You will see people from the ANC or CPP calling Mr. Former Vice President Boakai all sort of names. We are into a political season. Yes, of course we are. But there are ways that you can sell your candidate and convince somebody to join your team instead of bad-mouthing other political party. Instead of bad-mouthing or castigating others. The issue about it is that you have to convince me. For instance, if I Bwaka Amara Kamara, I'm not a supporter of any political party, but I'm still reading between the lines who to give my support to as an individual. But if I'm scrolling through social media and then I'm seeing folks from the CPP castigating Ambassador Boakai or folks from the Unity Party castigating the CPP, I'm like, why? I think their main target should be the CDC. Their main target should be the CDC. Because CDC is in power. CDC should be the one that all opposition parties should be targeting. But from what I've observed, CDC is more relaxed now in our body politics than even the both opposition party. Because the opposition blocks are attacking each other more than they are attacking the CDC. They have made Josh Weah to feel more relaxed. For the past days, you can hear Josh Weah talking about anything. You can see Josh Weah going to his church and then preaching messages from there this time. You can hear it. The man is more relaxed. The man is more relaxed. The man is more relaxed. Setting down Kim, the entire government, they were on their feet. The leg of McGill, the leg of Samuel Tua, the Koji, they were on their feet because they know by that time there was something on here. The political, let me say, the opposition bloc were ready to take their head on. But later on, when they saw the opposition bloc going a loggerhead, doing things out of the way, they say, well, they're not serious. What can we be wasting our time for? Let's just wait. Election time, we do what we're supposed to do. CDC preparing themselves more than the opposition. You know, now CDC, what they are doing, they are engaging every communities. Let me say this from an observation for the past days. They are sharing wrappers to other women. They go in the community, they lap at them, where they put Joria picture on. They sharing it all in Lockington, Clareton, the West Point, all over. CDC sharing motorbikes on a UFO generation. You see it on a We Are 2023. Motorbikes. In Lofa County, they send 82 motorbikes in Lofa counties. In Lofa County, rather. They are preparing themselves. They are putting everything together. Because few days from now will be in campaign time. How prepared is the opposition bloc as we head to the campaign? They are still attacking each other instead of focusing on their goal. They are still attacking each other. They are still attacking each other. CDC should be the target here. The CDC should be every opposition bloc should focus their missile at the CDC. But now it's not like that. Everybody want to, they want to focus on each other, fight each other, and make things look that everybody want to be seen as superior in our body politics.
Baga, good morning again.
Good morning, Mr. Gonglo.
It's still got getting off the bed in the morning.
Yeah, you look.
It's difficult.
I can see it from your face.
Yeah, I was on another show last night, focused on Liberia up to 10:30 in the night. So then I didn't go to bed soon. I had to make some calls to Liberia, so I didn't go to bed soon. So yeah. But yes, it's good to be here this morning. I know you started talking already, but we're expecting Wanda Fremont to join us this morning.
Yeah.
I think
He
George.
He joined in previously. By that time the show haven't started yet, so I think he logged out. So yeah, he will join back.
So you'll be talking about sanction, what it means for people in your government to be sanctioned, what it means for government to international sanctions and what have you. So it will be a fascinating discussion this morning. He previously worked for the Financial Intelligence Unit, which deals with financial crimes. So he's an expert in that area, and we're going to be listening to him. But just to make a quick comment on what you're saying this morning, Baka, I think part of the assumption here in the opposition party, which I believe is not a bad assumption, is that Joshua is gone already. That he's performing so bad that it's like, okay, he's falling. So we know he's going. So who among us will go? So the fight is actually among opposition as to who will take over. I mean, that's precisely the assumption. That
so
the Labour voters,
voters
for process too.
Mr. Google, let me say this. Of course, we may know that Joshua didn't do well in his first round, but as we head to election, you have to prepare yourself. You have to make your message resonate with the people before the people can entrust you with power. But if you are not getting your message across to the Liberian people, if you are not reaching out to the Liberian people, if you are not making them to know that you are prepared to take the mantle of authority from the Weah-led administration, what become of that? So I'm only asking about the opposition preparedness. The opposition preparedness should be a key. Now, we should see opposition bloc focusing, getting prepared, putting out some things, letting the Liberian know that, yes, a few days from now, we are heading to August, and it's going to be a campaign time. We are getting prepared to hit the grounds and keep working. But we are not seeing any of those things. We just allow this attack, this person attacking this person attacking the person. It's all we are seeing, Mr. Gonglo. It's all we are seeing here.
Because I think in the opposition, I think there's not agreement on what needs to be done. Okay, so let's take for example for Councillor Gonglo, he believes that Liberia historically has been governed by the rule of impunity. So the way you correct to have a clean start is to focus on rule of law. Let's make sure that in that country, we make Liberians and government officials, beginning with government officials, should respect the police, should respect the power of the police, for the police to do their job unimpeded. Okay? Look, even for you to come to work this morning, Baka, I'm sure in your traffic, I don't know where you live, I'm sure there were general Liberia just got 2 lanes, one lane, one side, and so. But what do you normally see in Monrovia? There is usually the second or third lane they'll create, and that is most of the time created by government officials or government cars. That hey, I'm going to work on, I'm getting late. But there is no way in the traffic law that there is a third lane, or you can just create a lane by yourself, and they will not even respect police, and that will cause the traffic. So that's the first thing he's saying. So let's make this country to work for our citizens and our officials to respect our laws. When we do that, then we move on to what economic development, because there can be no economic development in the mix of chaos.
So,
Others,
Mr. Gongo, let me just hold you there. Mr. Gongo, let me hold you there. We are getting information that the government have gone to close down Spoon FM. The government had just moved in to close down Spoon FM. We are letting you know about that. We are seeing sheriff now at the offices of Spoon Communication in Congo Town, when the government is closing down Spoon FM. Spoon FM is being closed down right now as we speak. I just thought it was to break that news. I don't know what is it that they are closing down Spoon FM, but as we speak right now, I'm seeing 3 sheriffs at the offices of Spoon Communication, owner of Spoon FM, Fabric FM, and Super FM, Spoon TV. The government is shutting down Spoon Communication right now as we speak. So, Mr. Gonglo, I just told you wise to break that news this morning.
Trust me, Councillor Gonglo will be defending Spoon in court, because he defends the constitutional rights of Liberian to free speech. He will be doing that. I can guarantee that, because that is what he has signed on for his lifetime, to defend the rights of Liberian. So he will be doing that. I'm very sure. But it's good. The thing is, if you are saying it is a sherry, is it a sherry?
Yeah, I seen 4 sheriff here now at Spoon FM.
All right. I don't know why they're doing that. It seems like they are using the law. So it means they will go to court and will be adjudicated. Yes. So I thought it's just, if they're using the police, then I think they will be started on the wrong footing. If they are using a court, that means they have gone to use another branch of government to come in to decide whether they have a probable cause to do what they're doing or not. So let's see how it goes. That means they're going to court.
But at this crucial time, Mr. Gonglo, closing down a media institution, that shouldn't be on the agenda of the government. As we head to elections, everybody should be given a opportunity to voice out their messages across. But that is an attack on free speech. We don't support everything that is being said by Spoon or Water Spoon on his network, but the Freedom of Speech Act says that everybody should be responsible for what they say or they say on their radio station. So if they, in any way, this institution have one way or the other created a scene there in this country, it should be they should let them know ahead of time that you guys are doing this. But soon, this early Friday morning, we are seeing sheriff now 1, now 2, now 3, or 4 sheriff now at Spoon FM. We just don't know the detail yet what they are closing down this institution, but it's bad. It's sent a bad message out there, Mr. Gonglo. Totally bad message. That's a statement they did to us.
Baka, I don't have the facts. I'm not even looking at you. Are looking at it. You're saying sheriff, right? You are saying sheriff there. I'm saying if you've seen the court officers, it means the government. I will condemn any act on free speech. Like I said, Councillor Gonglo is a defender of free speech. In fact, that has been his life all through, right? I'm saying if they are using the sheriff, it will suggest that they have gone to court to ask a court to take action. There are a number of things that people can go to court for. It may not necessarily be disagreeing with whatever is said on another channel. It could be maybe for not paying tax. It could be for many other reasons that we don't know. So if you go to court, it means sooner or later there will be a court hearing and the government will be forced under the rule of court to disclose why they have taken such action. For court to even send sheriff, it means the court has
Mr. Gold, just wait. Let me play something. What's happening right now?
Okay.
Just want to get some happenings from there.
What was the reason? What was the reason you got a studio?
Okay, so that's the voice. That's the happening right there now at Spoon FM.
Why just put a picture? I mean, there's no way to beam so we can see it. I'm looking on the screen. I'm looking for it. I don't see it.
There's
our technology. All right. Okay. After the show, I will look at it too. I need to read it to understand myself what's happening. If it is actually court officers, let's look at it.
Yeah, there are court officers there now at Spoon FM. We just told it wise to let the Liberian people know because, Mr. Gonglo, when such thing is happening, like it happened at our institution, Roots FM, the government will just move in. The day that they are closing your institution is the day that they will let you know that this is what you did wrong. That is causing us to close your media institution. There will be no message sent to you previously to say, you did this to us, or you did this on your radio station. So you have to govern yourself to avoid repeating it again. No, there will be nothing of such. But the day that they will move in, as the same day they will say you, they will give you the information that this is what you are doing, or this is what you did. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. Darlington, good morning. Welcome.
Darlington is having little. Maybe just remove the background, Darlington.
Yeah, you have to Darlington move. He started using that background.
Is sometimes, if you're using Wi-Fi and you may be further away from the base of the Wi-Fi. Like I'm in my base. So I'm following my Wi-Fi base.
Bweka, good morning, K. All right, okay, so
great. We have one filmer now.
So Spoon said to this morning. I was following Spoon this morning. In my life.
You are live, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think the court is executing a rate from the judge, Judge Kennedy, I think Judge Peabody, who after the complainant Wilmon Smith had complained on issues about, I think things been said about him on Spoon Network. So I just want to say we know that this is all political undertone because Spoon Network, as we know them to be prior to Stenton's and some of the Spoon people supporting Joseph Bweka, the Spoon Network have always been more of a pro regime, communication, So they are basically using Wilmon Smith hands to go under the fire to go and shut down Spoon, which is wrong and is an attack on free speech and on our democracy. However, Bweka, with the criminal justice system, the respondent is the rate. when the rate is served on them on the day the judge execute the rate. So it's not like they are evicting you out of the property. So if somebody got issue with you, you'll be on live broadcast. They will bring the rate. But it is still considered rate, and you need to move certain executing you to leave the property. Yeah, I just thought to provide that correction.
Okay, but I'm politically now, Darlington. We can refer today as attack on the media, because at about this time, wherein we are into a tense political season, that you as a government using somebody to get at a critical voice or media institution that is no longer, when they were supporting you, you never went there to say, oh, we will close down, or we will use somebody to engage the Spoon FM. But now, because they are no longer supporting you and your agenda, then you as a government getting to them to close down the institution. Politically, it may not help you. It may look bad for your side as a government.
No, Waka, I agree with you. Like I said on this channel few days ago, and on other channels, we fought for the freedom of the press, freedom of speech. We fought for it. No government gave it to Liberia. People died. Students from the university died. Progressive cadres died. Some of them got wounded. Some of them are having mental health issues today because of what they suffer at the hands of previous government fighting for this freedom. Nobody is going to take that away. I think the comment Darlington is making, and what I alluded to earlier, is in time past, you just see either the army move. You are too small to see what happened in the 80s. You see the army will move to enforce government order. You see the police, SOD or SBU will move to enforce government order on the press. But this time, they are using an individual to go to court, like Darlington just said. If that is what is really happening, if it is Wilmer Smith that has filed, like maybe which is a personal rape, not, but at least it's through the court. Let's see. Because guess what? There are thousands of lawyers who will land up, and I have no doubt that Councillor Gonglo is going to be one of that lawyers. They will land up to go defend Spoon. So that case will be adjudicated. And the facts will be right before the public and before the judge. So for me, if we reach a point in our country where government is now beginning to go to court to effectuate maybe what they want to do, we know obviously Woman Pay is a government person. Government will not be far from there. But at least they're not using the army, they're not using the police or Sabo Unit or whatever you call them.
Yes, they're executing the rate.
So in a constitutional democracy, that's what you do. If you have complaint against Bwaga, you go to court. What they did to Costa, the Root FN, was it a Root of FN that they took all your equipment?
Yeah, Roots FM.
Yeah, but they didn't go to court. Did they? Did they go to court?
No.
Yeah, they just moved in the morning, right?
So, but Mr. Gonglo, the issue here is that even if, Mr. Gonglo, the issue here is that even if they are closing down Spoon FM today, to get everything done from now till election, they will be delaying to reopen our station up until election is over. Even if election is over, they will delay up until, you see, up to now, our case, since then, the judge since then our own case, they just pack it, they put it in one place, all our materials, all the other things, and they just having it there. So the delay within the case is what that Darlington, you want to come in?
I just wanted to say that there's the ultimate price that the public will have to pay when we sit down very, meekly and our arms folded, when the government would do it to one media entity and get away with it and manage to keep that media entity permanently off the radio, that is what the government will do. Days of cyber darkness to execute a raid. Now they are using individuals. They are using individuals. So if Kamara and Dalino Collins have a problem and they are on different political divide, they just need to come to Darlington and convince me to take an action, to sue for whatever thing that have been set up on your radio, and the government will do that. The opposition political parties, whether it was the CPP, the ANC, or the Unity Party at the time, the LPP, all of the parties were there when the government unilaterally shut down Costa's Roost FM.
Yeah.
So the falling of the dry leaf is the warning to the raw ones. Today, who knows tomorrow which one of the media entity they might go for? When the government don't like what you say on the radio, it's go for you. So I'm not surprised.
Darlington, just to add up to what you are saying, please, you come in, Mr. Gumlo. By that time, Costa was supporting the Unity Party and even folks from the opposition bloc. He used to preach the message of the opposition bloc under his radio station. But what happened?
Yep.
Like you said, we folded our hands like this, and then everything went that way. Because what happened? The opposition, what they did, the Unity Party, one press release, and that was done. So they allowed that to happen to the Roost FM. Now today is happening to another media institution. What action will be taken now by the opposition bloc, not only the Unity Party, but even those that in a CPP, means a CPP and other political institution? What action would they take as the government is now coming down on another media institution? That should be the question here.
So Boyka,
there'll be another statement issued by the opposition.
Issue press statement. But I think this one is going to be different. We'll go to court. So Wonder is with us this morning. He's here for a certain length of time because he has to go to work. So I think you should welcome Wonder and let him take over the platform and make his presentation, so we can have callers.
Mr. Wonder, good morning and welcome to the Costa Show.
Thank you. I don't know if my mic is it on?
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. You are good.
Okay, thank you very much. And just call me Wonder. Oh, I wonder what I did. Click the mic.
Okay, it's okay now. It's okay now.
Yeah, I must have tipped it. Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, good morning once again. Welcome to the Costa Show.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
you're not getting me?
Yeah, you get on. I don't know. So you have to try to adjust his microphone. Yeah. So Darlington, like we are saying, it's good that the opposition bloc this time around, it shouldn't just be a press release that will come out, because if we continue with the press release, it will give us a difficult time as we head to the election.
It will run into our
okay, you guys have to bear with me. I'm kind of getting adjusted to this. I know how to call it. I don't even know the platform, but that's okay. I'm okay now.
Yeah, you are good now. You are good.
Okay, right, very good. Yeah.
Okay, so welcome once again to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so we are looking at the issue about war and economics, Crown Court, and individuals that have been sanctioned, and they are still parading. They are still in our body politics. Few days ago, we saw the leg of Nathaniel McGill, the Bill Tuawe, and even the Prince Johnson and others that have been sanctioned, stay funny part of our body politics, wherein they should be at the back, but at the forefront of our political arena. So from your own end, you've been following this, you've been into this field. Let's look at politics and corruption?
Okay, thank you very much. I think there are two different things. The War and Economic Crime Code is separate from this issue of global sanctions, and that is similar and somewhat separate from financial crimes and corruption. So I have more expertise in the global sanctions, financial crimes, and corruption. So let me speak to that. Now, I've been like following some talk show, and I think one of the most misleading statements on the air there is that crimes are not transferable. And so, yeah, it's partially correct. And the problem with partial truth or half truth is that you don't know which half you are getting. And when you speak in terms of corruption, I think people are giving other people the wrong half. So let me clarify this. A charge for financial crimes and corruption, as people who like McGill and PYJ and others, is different from a physical assault, or is different from rape or murder as people know it. And in those kinds of crimes, one person generally does that crime. Financial crimes, corruption, and other international crimes is a network, is a conspiracy. So the action of one person can be imputed to other people, even if they were not participants. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Say you the matter of maybe bribery or something like that. It's almost always two persons. Public sector corruption is almost several persons. But I think the Americans felt that if they hit the kingpin of the crime, then the other people will die away. Unfortunately, as the ambassador have seen, in the case of Liberia, hitting the kingpin is not even enough. People make an argument, oh yes, we are dealing with MD Arrow, we're dealing with Kum, but we're not dealing with PYJ. Come on, it's like saying George Weah has been sanctioned and you are dealing with Koji, or you are dealing with CDC, but you're not dealing with George Weah. I mean, for most international financial institutions, they will not deal with you if you are either on the executive of that organization or you are a close associate in Liberian law. So this is not just international law. The laws on money laundering in Liberia, I work for the FIU, I work for the LSCC, it's in Liberian law. And you know, the Proceeds of Crime Act and the Anti-Money Laundering Act, they got something they call politically exposed persons. So if you are a wife or another child of somebody of that nature, you are placed on enhanced due diligence. The issue is that most international financial institutions will wash your hands off for you immediately. And the reason is that you haven't committed any crime, you haven't done anything, just by your mere association with somebody that is on sanctions. Yes. The reason is that they don't want to offend the US federal government, because they don't know if they do something, maybe the federal government might say, no, what you did was actually wrong. And if they find out that what you did was wrong, the penalty can run into millions of dollars. So when they look at the business that you are bringing, and they look at the potential for penalty and what they could pay, they could just decide that they don't want to do business with you. Meanwhile, you have done nothing. So when you say crimes are not transferable, maybe rape, murder, aggravated assault, fine. But financial crimes, corruption, those crimes are transferable to your wife, your other children, and your close associates. Now, in the case of PYJ, to be specific, PYJ said he resigned from politics. Now, in law, there's what we call de jure and de facto. So he resigned is the de jure. Former, he wrote a letter and said, I resign. But the de facto, what we call the constructive, the man is making an announcement, political announcement, that, okay, Mbwaka will do this. And Mbwaka comes and does exactly what PYJ says. He goes, he attacks Yombli Kanga, for example. People from the Southeast, for example, PYJ has not resigned from politics at all, not at all. So obviously, he is using other people to get around the U.S. sanction. They call it sanction busting. When they put you on sanction, you say, okay, say I'm on sanction, I can't do anything. I will get a Kun, or I will get my wife, or I will get my son to act in my behalf. Liberian people have already suffered. Look, I was around Taylor time when they made a decision. This decision of dealing with sanctioned people is close to the Taylor decision. If it's made, I doubt it, but if it's made, it will be close to the Taylor. It will be as disastrous. I just wrote an article, and I said between cost and consequences of dancing with the devil. Between Ellen government and we are government, the U.S. aid alone dropped by $1 billion. U.S. aid, just U.S. aid. Then multilateral assistance, that is the World Bank, UN, all of those kinds of institutions, between Ellen last regime and we are regime, that dropped by $2 billion. Then foreign direct investment. As you know, foreign direct investment has a lot of implication for poor country or job opportunities, because we don't have a lot of resources domestically for investment. So good part of your investment has to come from abroad. I mean, we don't have rich people in abroad to invest. So foreign direct investment fell by 5 billion. So I calculated that between Ellen, the decision to move from Ellen to WIA cost us $8 billion. $8 billion. It may sound big, but that's why it is. And the reason is that WIA is not on sanction, but they just don't regard WIA. So the fact that he's not on sanction, but they just don't regard him, and we have lost billions of dollars. And you will see it. You don't have to be an economist to know. You see joblessness in Liberia. You see hopelessness in the country because the leader is not respected. So when we go from just not being respected to somebody who is on an active sanction list, it's going to be disaster for the country. And I have not been passionate about this. I participate sometimes, but I feel like we are all good, have good intentions. But this case is different because if we were to go in that direction, the suffering is going to be even worse than what we are experiencing now. You know, so I'll pause here, and if you have specific questions, we can talk about it.
Yeah. So from my end,
Braka, if you may,
okay,
let me
go ahead.
Let me engage Wanda. So Wanda, thank you, and from your from your expose, I know you come from that professional background. So basically, I have two questions or so for you. So what you were telling us is basically in financial crimes, when those things happen, especially vis-a-vis with how people get sanctioned rather, it goes on. You know, the party who is bringing the sanction to identify their potential cohorts or people who they might be in an organized crime with. If that is so, that's one, making it to understand that there could be implication or implicating their family members and family sources. That brings me to my second question. Did you read the Dr. Daniel Cassell's indictment? Because I was privileged to, I'm actually taking a course in, financial crimes this semester, by the way. And then I was doing the research, and I also saw that his wife was also criminally indicted for the scheme. Can you share more perspective on that too as well?
Okay. I didn't read the Daniel Cassell, but what I know, if she did any action, because in that case it's not a sanction. Because let me explain the difference between the sanction and just getting charged. Right. If you have a certain conduct, and especially if you're based in the US, there's no need for sanction. The US will charge you. The US is charging because the Liberian justice system has failed to do what it's supposed to do. And if the Liberian justice system were doing what they're supposed to do, there's no need for sanctions. But because these people are not under US jurisdiction, and the Liberian government will not take the necessary action, and the US does not want to fold its hand and see Liberia going in the abyss, so the US decided to do something that is extra legal in a sense, and you understand me, to mount sanction. So in the Cassell case, it's most likely once they have evidence against her that she participated in some way along with her husband, there is no need for sanction. They will charge her directly. And let me tell you something. It is much easier if you commit murder, you can easily get away from murder than corruption and financial crimes. Because with murder, other things you got eyewitness. If the eyewitness is not there, then most likely kaput, especially in a place like Liberia.
And the standard beyond all reasonable doubt, you know, the standard is very tough.
But with financial crimes, there is a trail. There is a money trail. You might have a bank check, you might have an ATM transaction, and your name will be there, or somebody you send will be there. So there's always this trail, you know. But what I want Liberian people to know is that in politics, there must be a no-go area. Like, for example, in Germany, you don't say in a country like Germany, for example, that the Holocaust didn't occur. Or in the US, for example, you don't say you got Democrat, you got Republican, but you can say I'm a communist. You know, it's totally unacceptable. Or say in Rwanda, you don't say the genocide didn't occur. So in Liberia, we must have minimum standard that when we come to, we must say this is a no-go area. And I think the area of international sanctions, when people are on international sanctions as a country, we need to wash our hands totally of that individual, of the organization that individual is from, and of their close associates. And that is what Liberians are not doing. They're making all kinds of excuses. People are going to suffer in that country very terribly, I'm telling you, because the people are going to scale down. International assistance, multilateral assistance will be scaled down. And obviously, foreign direct investment is going to be almost to zero. Look, the last article I wrote, I tracked foreign direct investment, and it could show that it went from 300 million to 5 billion on the early before dropping down on a WIA to another 300 million. So WIA is bringing in less in terms of foreign direct investment than even during the interim government. And the implication had jobs implication for Liberian young people, because obviously companies come and they hire people. But if you are restricted to just government, obviously you got to be member of CDC party. If you are not member of CDC party, you can't get a job. So people need to pay attention.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So you listen to the U.S. ambassador's statement. Yeah, Wanda, you listen to the U.S. ambassador's statement, and especially where he expressed deep fear about Liberians doing business with sanctioned officials under the Global Magnitsky Act. Do you fear that the nation will suffer more in terms of foreign direct investment, in terms of aid that comes from the United States? You know, if we continue to elect into public offices people who are actively on U.S. sanctions, is that where the country will we lose? According to you did the mathematics, and it's about $8 billion. So you fear that we will lose even more than that?
Oh yes. And to be honest with you, people feel that like someone like PYJ was placed on sanctions just because of what he did. I doubt that, because this research work takes years. So it's possible that some of his action with the Seli regime flowing into the WIA regime, it was an accumulation of all of those actions by PYJ that got him on the sanctions. So it's unlikely that it was mostly the dealing with George Weah. And so there will be more. I suspect the US, they don't like people to challenge their authority. It's not only Liberia. Look around the world. The Euro has brought people to their knees. Very powerful people. You can think of Saddam. You can think of Bin Laden. You can think of Gaddafi. I mean, you can make a long list. The US is very good at bringing people to their knees who challenge their authority. Now, take a country like Liberia. I mean, it's my country, but take a country like Liberia. You have very powerful people that they have brought to their knees. Liberia is absolutely, I mean, you are almost negligible in the international scheme of things. So you will be better off washing your hands of sanctioned people. And then when I say sanctioned people, I'm telling you the organization they are from, plus their close family member, plus their close associates. You have to wash your hands of those people totally because one, just as you mentioned, obviously the US will scale down. They already have scaled down from Ellen to Weir. But if you and Weir is not on sanction, mind you, Weir is not on sanction. He's just not respected, and so they scale down. And if you now put in the government,
but like you said, when the sanction we are, like you said, so can we infer that indirectly we are on sanction because his chief of staff then Nathaniel Fallow McGill is also.
Yeah, I was speaking in a more formal sense, but actually the action against the associates of Weir or the ministers,
is there an extension?
It was directed at Weir because international law protects him at some level because he's a head of state. So the best the US could do was to hit his agents, but actually that sanction was actually directed at Weir. That's my reading on it, and I believe the US will add more people on the list because obviously, if you mount a challenge to the US will want to show you that they are still the global superpower. And even let's say if we didn't have the US, if you had China as the global leader, or you had Russia, they will still tell you what to do. Like now, you want to deal with China, they will tell you don't work with Taiwan. If you do it, the China will bring economic sanctions to bear. And the same thing with Russia. Right now, Ukraine is having a war. They're having a war because Russia wants to tell Ukraine what to do, and if Ukraine fails to do it, Russia is going to bring punishment. So the US is not going to take it lying down. They may not tell you now what they're going to do, but I expect they will add more names, and they will take further action to show that they don't allow challenge to their authority.
Yeah, so there's my last question before I turn it over to Kalibo. Kalibo, let me just ask you my last question and then I turn it over to you. The U.S. ambassador said that because these sanction officials are not in U.S. jurisdiction, the best the U.S. can do is to say, you are not allowed to come to our country. It has been rumored and speculated. I don't expect you to speak to speculation as a professional man, that vice presidential nominee Jeremiah Kuhn has been denied visa from entering the U.S. Is it also with his affiliation with Sanction Prince Johnson, who have announced and ordained as coming from NIMBA?
Yeah, but even under Liberian law, Kuhn will qualify as what we call a close associate of the sanctioned person. So it's not just U.S. law; it's under Liberian law. It's just the CDC government has decided they don't care. But in the under Liberian law, also, like I said, PYJ has never really, because PYJ is supposed to resign and disappear from politics. But he's making speeches, he's attacking people, he goes to church, he makes political statements, and a whole bunch of things. So, my sense is that when it comes to sanctions, international sanctions, and other financial, the key thing is not only the U.S. government. Once the U.S. government got you like that, every global financial institution is going to wash their hands off of you. That's the point. Because the sanctions are big. Let me just give you a statistic, right? From January this year to June, the first half of the year, the U.S. has levied $500 million on several companies for violating sanctions. $500 million. So most financial institutions don't just want to get hit with U.S. penalties, so they are not going to deal with you. So people like Kuhn, who are close associates of PYJ, they're not just going to do any business with him. So what's the essence of having such a person go represent you in the international community when global financial institutions are not going to work with him? And they're not going to work with him not because of Liberian law. They are afraid of the U.S. civil penalties. That's why they're not going. So Liberian people need to think, because Liberia cannot do without foreign direct investment. They cannot do without international multilateral aid. They cannot do without U.S. aid. Because the politicians, they feed on the government budget. As you know, Kuhn got rich out of budget manipulation. PYJ and Thomas Fowler, a whole bunch of them got rich on budget manipulation. So they don't rely on this international assistance. It is you and myself that rely on international assistance, international investment, and multilateral aid. So these guys don't care. And that's why the citizens, I don't understand how they can be clapping and rejoicing for their own suffering. I don't understand. And that's why sometimes we come on each platform to try to educate our people. Don't do it. It will be very painful for Liberia. It will be very painful.
Calibo,
Now,
you want to take it over?
Yeah, no, Darlington, you can still ask question if you have question. But I just want to ask. I don't have much question to ask Wanda in this case. But Wanda, I just wanted to pick your mind on. I mean, it appears that you got a legal background. Do you?
Yeah. Of course, I'm a lawyer, and beyond that, I'm an international trade and investment lawyer.
Okay, all right. So so I'm just looking at the implication. I talked to a lawyer here in the U.S. There's a Liberian fellow here who studied law, and he said to me, any political parties, any government, any individual that begin to deal with those on the sanction, particularly the sanction was meant to actually make these people to leave the public space. If you start to deal with them, you could be having legal exposure. And I don't know, I didn't ask him much question, but you listening to you now, when you said you should have potential legal exposure, I mean, can you explain that why it means?
Yeah, they are twofold. So the first exposure could be that the U.S., after further investigation, can add the list up and you will appear on the list because you were busting the sanction. And of course, if you're busting sanction, the U.S. can include you. So that is the first risk. But the risk that I'm more concerned on is not the U.S. action. It is what the international financial community will do when you are on the U.S. sanction or you are close affiliate of the U.S. sanction. The entire international community wash their hands off for you. Because, like I said, the U.S. sanction is not only applicable to U.S. company, they call it something they call U.S. persons. Now, U.S. person has a wider implication than U.S. citizen and other things like that. Because a U.S. person could be a company that has majority American shares. It could be a NGO that is registered under American law. So these are all U.S. persons. So the implication is too wide. So Liberians need to know that there must be things in politics that is a no-go. No-go. Do not do it because it's a crazy idea to have people on international sanction because what the U.S. government will do to me is a small punishment. But when the entire global financial community decide to wash their hand off of you, the repercussions can be too bad. That's why I'm telling you that we lost, and I said, John, we're not under sanction, but we lost $8 billion in USAID, in multilateral aid, and in foreign direct investment. $8 billion, just because the leader was not respected. Now, let me put it in context for you and give you another statistic. So, Liberian foreign direct investment on a year between 2018 to 2021 was 348 million. Foreign direct investment, which has a potential for generate jobs. Compare it with Conakry, Guinea, for example. During that same period, 2018 to 2021, it was 977 million. 900 million. And under Liberia, it was 300 million in foreign direct investment. Compare that with Areco, it was 3.6 billion. 3.6 billion. And under Ellie, it was 2.8 billion. It has direct implication for job opportunity for Liberian youth. Those youth that are clapping out there for the very people who are preventing them from getting jobs. So I'm saying to you, it will get worse if PYJ, his party, or people who are believed to be close associates of PYJ become the face of the government. Because apart from the punishment that the US government will mete out to you, the entire international financial community are going to wash their hands off of you, and it will have very serious repercussions. So it will be as it's equal to almost like bringing Taylor back and installing Taylor in power. That's how it's going to be. So Liberian people need to know that there are no-go area in politics. That particular area of international sanction is a no-go area. Liberians should not joke with it.
Wonder.
Yeah.
So basically, from your analysis, I am deducing that you are warning Liberians, and myself included, that in as much as they are clamoring change, because we have, of course, lost money on Mr. Weah, you know, from Ellen to Weah, we have lost money on Mr. Weah. You are warning Liberians that in as much as we are clamoring change, we should also be careful and not just be caught up in this electoral sentiments about who we give.
Yeah, it's a rescue one, rescue two, blah, 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 all of that, you know.
Right. So there could be potential penalties on the ordinary people like you and myself, because Liberia may not be an economic climate for the world to do business with. Is that why you are warning against?
That is exactly. I'm not too concerned even with the US itself, because but if the entire international community wash your hand off of a country, I mean, that country is finished. You'll be like Eritrea, you know, or Haiti. I mean, you hear the news coming from Eritrea, Haiti, you know, Somalia, South Sudan. Liberia could go that route. So, and they don't have to go that route because they have other people in the race. And why it's true, for example, I personally support Councillor Gongolo, and I've supported him from his days as LMBA president. But it's not about who I support. It's about what Liberians should not do. That is my emphasis. Don't do it because it's a very crazy idea. People are going to suffer very terribly. They're going to suffer very terribly.
Wonder,
yeah.
Wonder in his book, the African Child, I think Kamara Lai, he warned that children sometimes play around the fire hype and expose their hand to touching the charcoal, and they get burned and they cry to their mama. So this is how sometimes we Liberians behave, where experts are warning us, the directives are clearly printed on the wall, that if you do this, you will plunge this country into more financial problems. And like Kamara Lai expressed in his book, The African Child, we dare to venture to put our hand and expose it to the charcoal. Is that what you are inferring?
Exactly. Because here's the thing. The Liberian government budget has always been around 500 to 800 million in that cycle. And I give you an example. Foreign direct investment under Ellen was 2.8 billion in the second term. In the first term was 1.9 billion. Compare that foreign direct investment to the government budget. It's no match. So foreign direct investment can do for you what the government cannot do for you. International multilateral aid can do for you what the government cannot do for you. Do you understand me? For example, let me talk about international multilateral aid. Let me talk a bit about international multilateral aid. So before Ellen came, just a minute, boy, I like to speak with figures. So, okay, so they call it official development assistance. And that official development assistance is, like I said, World Bank, IMF, African Development Bank, all of those institutions put together. So before Ellen, that was 900 million coming to Liberia. What it means is that a lot of people get jobs because the international institution come to your country, they hire people, they have workshops, and you know what I mean. So under Ellen first term, it was 5.3 billion. You know what it means to go from 900 million to 5.3 billion. Under her second term, it was 4.5 billion. And now when we are king, it dropped to 2.4. So what we are saying is that, look, Liberia, it's not a big country. You are not rich, you're very, very poor. You just cannot do without the international community. So do not put yourself in a position for them to abandon you because the repercussion, especially for jobs. Like me, I will tell you, let me make a personal confession. Myself, personally, I'm an economic migrant. I was in Liberia there, you know, 10 years around, but the whole economy was bad, very bad. And I just decided I got to get my family out of here. So I took my family out. How many Liberians? 5.5 million Liberians cannot get out. So it's just a small number of people that can say, okay, things not working in Liberia, I'm packing my things and I'm leaving. Most Liberians cannot leave. So they would have to be in Liberia. So do not create a hell in Liberia by making, and I want to say making people like PYJ the face of the government. It's different. PYJ gave you a vote. I mean, no big deal. It's not a problem. But PYJ cannot be on the governing table, represented either by himself, by his party, or by his close associates.
On campaign trail.
Yeah, right. I mean, he wouldn't wrote a letter and say he retired, but he's not retired because he's attending campaign. He's going in the radio. He's making statements. He's making announcements. He's attacking political opponents. So that doesn't sound like anybody who is retired. So he and what he need or Kun, they are running the MDR 50-50 on a conspiracy crime like Kun is already a participant. So I can't understand why Liberians are thinking it's not about vote for the person or vote for that person, but identify the no-go area under Liberian politics. Say this one is a no-go area. Let's all agree. Like I was saying in America, you can say you're a communist and get anywhere in America. I mean, it's not going to work. You know, the American society has come to a point where, you know, they're not going to even pay attention to you. So we must agree in Liberia what is a no-go, what are the no-go areas. And I'm saying to the Liberian community in Liberia and abroad that international sanctions on any individual is a no-go area. Don't do it.
Okay, Wanda, there's my last question, and then George will announce the numbers and open up the line so our callers can interact with you directly, hear from the expert. So why do you think the Americans requested the neck of Senator Prince Johnson on the House Committee on Security? That's one. And two, can you explain to us some of the way in which the Americans worded the sanction on Senator Prince Johnson? Because the reason why emphasis has been placed on Prince Johnson is because in 2020, Prince Johnson, I think, was sanctioned in 2021 or so. I think I stand to be corrected on that by the Global Magnitsky Act. You know, Liberians tend to forget the last event and will remember the most current. So when we talk about U.S. sanctions now, people want to look at the likes of McGill, Bill Twawe, and Selma Serrano Cephas. So can you tell us, you know, if you read the sanction on Prince Johnson, what are those things the Americans accuse him for, and why do you think the Americans went all out to have Senator Johnson removed on the House Committee on Security, Intelligence, and Veteran Affairs?
Okay, so before I come to that, I want to give you a personal encounter. I was in a labor-related case and I was on the opposing side with Vanny Sherman law firm, Sherman Law, and they were representing an international company. And the American hit Vanny Sherman with sanction. And I think the next week we had a legal argument at Labor Ministry. And automatically the international institution that Sherman was representing disconnected. So by the time we appear for the hearing the next time, Sherman had to put in an excuse and say they couldn't be part of the case. They will get back to the court at a later date. And it was very clear. And I was shocked at the speed with which the international company disconnected themselves from Sherman, because I would think they would say, okay, that 1 month, 2 months, let's take time, blah, blah, blah. But the moment they announced it, Sherman could no longer represent that international company. So the PYJ sanction, let me just read a section. It says, as senator, and I'm reading, Johnson has been involved in pay-for-play funding with government ministries and organizations for personal enrichment as part of a scheme. And that's why I'm telling you, financial crime is not one person. Not one person. As part of a scheme Upon receiving funding from government of Liberia, the involved government ministries and organizations launder a portion of that funding for return to the involved participants with an S. The pay-for-play funding scheme involved millions of US dollars. Additionally, Johnson received an undeserved salary from the GOL as salary intelligence source, yet he does not provide any form of intelligence reporting to the GOL. Johnson has offered the sale of votes in multiple Liberian elections in exchange for money. Johnson is designated pursuant to EO 1318 for corruption, including misappropriation of state assets, expropriation of private assets for personal gain, corruption related to government contracts, or the extraction of natural resources or bribery. So, there is in black and white, these are what the Americans say. One thing, it confirms what I'm telling you, that one is a scheme. And in a scheme, there's no one participant. So PYJ, Epate, Kun, all of them are part of that scheme, including other people not necessarily mentioned, like in the government, the people who gave him money, the people who put in the budget and then get it out and pass it to him. All of those people, but ultimately the American can't go around and
the Americans know who they are. Right.
Yes, obviously. Sometimes the evidence has to accumulate at a certain level before you hit. So it could be in some of those participant situations, the evidence have not accumulated to a particular level. So they just decided to hit the kingpin. And in their thinking, like I said, they felt that maybe hitting the kingpin, it was going to quell the conspiracy. But as you can see, those guys don't care. They are caring about business as usual. So I expect the Americans will come out with more sanctions.
All right, George, you want to open the lines?
Yes, Darlington. Okay, for the numbers of call this morning on the show, 0770 102 120 886 010 TD. The WhatsApp number plus 231 880 513417. The WhatsApp number plus 231 880 513417.
So technically, I have just 15 minutes.
770 102 102 and 0886.
Yes. Okay, 15 minutes, just that.
We know you got to do work, so
no calls yet, Talenton.
Okay. So Wanda, we follow the sanctions. So I think even under Liberian laws, right, you cannot be collecting money from one government, one branch of government, and be collecting, another salary. So was Senator Johnson collecting his salary as senator of Nimba County and collecting an extra salary from the executive? Is that conflicting on our laws?
Yeah, of course. Under Liberian law, or you can collect money from two different branches. Look, when you come to the Liberian situation, it's just bad because what happened over there, these guys allocate budget, then they form companies, and then they allocate the budget that they have to their companies, and then their company implement, and most times the companies don't implement and nobody gets investigated. Look, I'm telling George Weah, because I feel so sorry for him because after him, there are going to be investigations. I mean, I'm in the financial crime area, so I feel very sorry for him because it's going to be bad because he's signing a lot of documents. I want to believe that are indicting himself. They are doing a lot of things. And so when other people come in and start to investigate, obviously they will have to answer. So
okay, let me just hold you there. We'll have a caller on the line. Good morning. Good morning. It's gonna be like he's not ready yet. Let me go to the other line on their side. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
We're doing great, and you?
I'm doing fine. I'm Terry Sancho Flangia calling from Minnesota.
Welcome to the program.
Yeah, I want to actually ask those guys instead of what do they have for details on what was the treaty that was signed with Liberia and America when it comes to this Manixing sanction. What was the actually agreement that the Liberian government signed that if somebody was sanctioned, what would be the next step to take in? If they have some details, can they kindly give us details on what would have been a step that would have been taken after an official or an individual from Liberia has been sanctioned based on what the Manixing document says related to Liberia treaty? So that's my contribution. I would like to get some details related to that, please. Thank you.
Okay. Let me go to line. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning, George. Good morning, the studio guests and Darlington. I have a question for the guests. We only point out Nathaniel McGill, Frank Johnson, and also why can we talk about Vonnie Sherman? And the second thing here is that I want to know the implication about the NEC because the American government finance our elections in Liberia. So I want to find out because the NEC just, certificated some of those sanctions officials. So what would be their implication in this matter? Because if they give them a certificate, are the American going to fund these institutions? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Diana, go ahead.
So let me answer the first guy who talked about treaty.
Okay.
The Magnitsky Act is an American law. It's not a treaty, but it has extrajudicial implication. What it means is that it can reach to people who are not American citizens or American residents. And it's a tricky thing in international law because you're supposed to make law for your country, right? Right. You're not supposed to make law that reach to other countries, but they are the global superpower. So they can write a law and say it applies to my country and it applies to any other person who is linked to me. There's a global superpower. I mean, it's not fair, it's not right, but there is absolutely nothing you can do because first thing, these are people who fund the UN budget up to 25%. So it's an American law. It's not a treaty because treaty means Liberia and America get together and sign. No, the American law, and then they got the American law. They got the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. It's an American law, but mostly applicable outside of America. And yeah, that's why it is. So don't joke with international sanctions.
America acts these laws to basically build a barricade around their country from corruption, right?
Exactly. But the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act is when you are an American citizen and you go into a third world country and you commit corruption there, when you come to America, they can hold you on it. And not only individual, but companies. And they can make out tremendous fines. So the second question, what the person said, I think something about Sherman. And
why would I reference Sherman?
Well, I mentioned Sherman, yeah, I even gave a practical example where I was involved in a labor case with a Sherman law firm, and immediately as the American did the sanction, the international company that Sherman was representing automatically disconnected themselves from sanction. This is a multi-billion-dollar company, and they disconnected immediately. So internationally, people don't joke with U.S. sanctions, whether you're a European company, you're African company, any kind of company. People don't. It just in Liberia, the ignorance is so high that American put sanction on people, and people jumping around and say, "Oh, we're dealing with MDR, we're not dealing with PYJ, we're dealing with Kun. We're not." American put you on sanction. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Liberia is going to be bad.
Yeah, if I may even add to the wonder, particularly for the second caller, if you go to the State Department website, it is very clear. It is written there that global corruption threatens America's national security interests. That's why when they they go after it because it is true corruption. You have terrorists financing through corruption. Even under Charles Taylor, there was one bar was linked in the CIA report on Liberia that these guys were agents of other Hezbollah or the Al-Qaeda, they were doing some illegal money activities to get money to support their activities in other countries during Charles Taylor time. I remember reading that report. So corruption, underground trade, those things America take them very seriously because they threaten America's national security interest. I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the caller. I mean, I don't know, George, whether we got some callers, but if not, I just wanted to add the caller who said whether we have treaty with America on that, like Warner, eloquently said in his deliberation that first of all, Liberia and America has, a bilateral relationship for the fact that the American had the embassy actively operating in Liberia. And when you listen to the American ambassador, he said the only action America can take basically is to sanction these individuals from preventing them from coming to their country and ask people who are in Liberian jurisdiction not to do business. If you attempt to do business with these people, you yourself risk being exposed for additional sanctions. Because it's like you're challenging American power. It's like the judge tell you, say, do not open your business until you can settle your tax evasion issue. Then you say, well, to hell with you, judge will operate. Instead of you opening in the morning, then you opening in the night. So the judge may probably bring additional sanctions or probably, find your place, close your business or so.
Okay, let me hold you. How about calling line? Good morning.
George, my question was not answered. I was asking what would be the implication of the NEC certificating all those guys that were on sanction. Can the guy you please explain so that Liberians can understand? Thank you.
Okay, good. I think I left that part of the question. I don't think Americans have direct relationship with NEC. And it is, firstly, the Liberian people must demand that the government investigate these people. The Liberian people must demand. That's why if you remember, the ambassador said, seize the moment.
Yep.
That's what he meant. Yeah, demand. Because it is the Ministry of Justice, it is the LACC, and to some extent the police. They are supposed to investigate when. So when they say demand, if the CDC government fails to do it, it's supposed to show in the Liberian vote that the Liberians are angry. It's supposed to reflect in the vote that they are angry with CDC, because if these people are accused of committing crimes against Liberia, we should be investigated constitutionally and statutorily, and the government is failing to do it. It's a delegation, of his constitutional duty. So the U.S. government will not take Liberia institution by institution. No, they might deal with the government as a single entity, and so they will not find it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add, I think potentially what could happen, the Americans will not basically tell the NEC not to certificate, sanction individual A or B. But what could potentially happen, I know through the USAID, funding, they fund these democratic processes around the world. So what could potentially happen is that the Americans could possibly, in our next election, whether it is 6 years or maybe 4 years from now, whether it is by-election, they may just not have the funding to invest in your democracy.
Yeah. I think that will happen.
Cannot fund your activity.
Well, it won't be immediate. It will be over time.
Right. It will be over time.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Yep.
Okay. I'm Samuel Tapla calling from South Dakota, South Dakota.
Welcome, Samuel.
Okay. On the line of the sanction, a writ of Madama was filed to the Supreme Court to force Supreme Court to demand the Justice Ministry to prosecute those people that have been sanctioned by the American government. So the certificate that NEC gave to them is not a clearing that they will participate in the election. So they give them certification so that when people get a problem with them, you can bring up the problem. So now our organization filed a writ of mandamus to the Supreme Court that went to compare the Justice Ministry to prosecute these people because the American government get a fact, they get the evidence to prosecute them. So we are working with it. So after Justice Ministry prosecution, then they're going to stop them from participating in the election.
I think that information is wrong.
During Ellen Johnson's leave government time, some of them are senators, sitting senators, and then they apply again to run in the 2023 election. So there are so many programs that we planning to stop these guys because they are corrupt, and we don't want for Liberia to be like this in the next 10 coming. So we are working with international community to prosecute these people to stop them from participating in our election. So that, and I thank the studio guests, Wanda, you are very good, and I think you will get our support. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, this will be my last comment. So I think the Supreme Court thing is not an immediate solution because as a lawyer, I know how long things take to go back and forth and all of that. And even if the Supreme Court says investigate, you got to go for investigation. Then before you get to charges and all of that, so it's going to take a long time. So clearly, between now and October, right?
Supreme Court level, they are
just
just
let me just finish it. Let me just finish this point.
They don't have time for the
between now and October, the only real solution is the vote of the Liberian people. Their vote will show whether they disdain the action of the CDK government of not investigating. Because, I mean, you can, like, take the case of Kuhn. This man is accused of stealing up to $1 million in budget fraud. Instead of the people advocating for his investigation, they are advocating for him to take office. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Somebody is accused of stealing $1 million. Donald Trump was accused of stealing document or taking document, and he's in court. And in Liberia, somebody is accused of taking $1 million, and the person is running for office, and people are calling him rescue too. So the vote of the Liberian people will tell what they feel about CDC not investigating. And it's not only that, there's so many things like selling of our passport. That is one of the worst crimes against the Republic of Liberia, the selling of our diplomatic passport. And Georgia has not investigated that. Yep. And that is more serious international crime. How can you sell a country diplomatic passport? So, Liberian people, you have to show by your vote that you don't like it. But because Supreme Court can help you now from now to October, that time frame is just too short for Supreme Court to help you, you know. But I mean, this conversation can go on, you know. You know my expertise. You can call me another time. We can have arrangement. We can talk about other financial crimes issue, transnational crimes, economic law, whatever. We can talk again. But I have to be gone.
All right, Freeman. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you joining us on the show.
Okay. So I'm off.
Let me excuse me, the last caller. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Yes, we're okay.
Yeah, this is Alex Minimal calling from Minnesota. I have interest in a discussion this morning. I a little bit concerned about our voters. Our voters, most of them are not educated, and they are destitute. The poor, they don't have money, they don't have a daily bread. So if the National Election Commission certificate guys, they get the government are giving the green light to participate in the election, our people will go to the people in the rural area, tell them, oh, I'm free, I know the American law, right? And the National Election Commission give us a certificate that we have the right to run. So give them petty cash, $20, $10 to buy food to eat. They will vote for them. They are not thinking that they won't have out Arlington or Walker because they got understand the international law. But that they don't know why they from in the bush. They don't know, and they're voting power. They don't vote for the people. So you can't believe that they are suffering. We here in America, we're not suffering. We understand. But they don't have food to eat. They might get voted, but you can't get $1 or $2. It is not vote for him. They don't vote for him. So we're not blaming that. So a comment to me, in my opinion, the American government should compel the National Election Commission to start the guy now they're even getting the certificate to green at the vote.
Let me just make one quick comment. Right? The American government has, let me make one quick comment because I gotta be off. Let me make a quick comment because I gotta be off. The American government has no legal authority whatsoever to commit any act of that nature that you are describing in Liberia. They cannot do it under international law, they cannot do it under Liberian law, and they cannot do it under American law. The decision to investigate is a decision either by the LMP, the LACC, or the Ministry of Justice. Only those three bodies can commission an investigation and file charges. If you say the Liberian people are too, I don't know, illiterate, whatever, but they can feel. I'm sure that what they're feeling now on we are, they can feel. When they voted for Taylor, they can feel. What they felt on and Taylor, they can feel. So I'm saying to you, wash your hands of anybody on international sanctions, especially U.S. sanctions. Wash your hands off of their organization. Wash your hands off of their close associates, because the economic pain will be too unbearable for Liberians. So let me stop on this note. I have to go, and but you know my expertise. We can always talk again.
One, it will always be a pleasure to have you on the show, man. Let us know when you want to come on, and then we'll probably talk about other financial crimes issues.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Right. Bye-bye. You know, George and Kalibu, I think Kalibu is in the background there. That is why the intellectual class, the people who got some little education, even at high school level, have a responsibility. The responsibility to inform and educate. And that is why when we come on the show here, we don't, if we want public sentiments to clap for us, we'll tell the public what the public want to hear. But we have a national responsibility and a sober duty to remind you Liberian people, like the old man in the village would tell the young girl, if you have unprotected sex, you're jumping around the boys there overnight, you will get pregnant. Sometimes the girl child don't listen. And she jump around and eventually she gets pregnant. The old man said, well, we'll be here to deliver you, the midwife. We'll tell you what's happening. So that is where your country is. We come on this show here to advise you. And sometimes when we talk about your political people not doing business with sanction officials, you want to divert the conversation. To say, oh, why about Henry Costa, who is in the ALP and he was billionaire Ure? I am not in the ALP. I am not in Henry Costa's party. But Henry Costa knows when the Americans said do not do business with certain individuals. And to be fair, Mr. Ure was sanctioned by, he was on UN sanction. He was not sanctioned by the United States of America. If Mr. Ure is reading his own security shadows and don't want to come to America, that is up to Mr. Ure, and that is up to him and his LLP. The last time I checked, Mr. Ure is not the one who's running for president or want to be president in your country. The last time I checked, the people who want to be president is George Weah, the forerunners, and the legs of Ambassador Bueka, who are in beds with sanctioned U.S. officials. And you expect these people to get political power, and you expect for your financial markets to be open, then it is worrisome. To be honest, the Global Financial Organization, when the U.S. writes a report on a particular country, it affects the economic climate. Nobody wants to do business in such an environment where there are corrupt courts, where the judges will not be able to properly adjudicate contracts or issue a rate of estoppel in where a government ministry may want to default on a contract. Then the country is in serious chaos. So if y'all want us to come on the show here and tell you Liberian people all the things they want to hear, the country will not go nowhere. Nothing what they can say, oh, in the interest of the country, let's think about the interest of the country. Some of these young people who are behind Joseph Boyka and tell you these things, interest of country, they want to secure their interest to get government job. That is their unquestionable quest. And that's why some of the guys in the CDC can say, we in the opposition, we are hateful. Because if you are in the opposition, the onus is upon you to provide genuine alternative option in terms of who you are going to replace the ruling establishment with. We can see the same problems in the CDC. It is only good when we come here and say Natana Magere is a rogue, and Sema Serena Sifa is a thief, and Bill Twawe is a corruption king kong. You will clap for us here. But when we say, why must Joseph Boyka be in bed with Alex Tyler? Why must Prince Johnson be on the campaign trail and inform the Liberian people that the rescue tool will come from Nimba and it will come from the MDR, and eventually it happened? You don't want us to question that? Then there is something fundamentally wrong with this country. Kalibo, you want to say something?
I mean, I think this morning it was very good. It was a very good discussion. Particularly, I think Wanda did a fantastic job to give us a broad understanding of the different implications of dealing with people on sanction. You have to kind of distinguish between a direct crime like murder, rape, versus corruption, which is more like a network. In most instances, one person may be known, but you're not taking that money alone. There are paper trails to get the money. It's a syndicate. So I think that understanding, that little piece of education this morning, I think was a wonderful education. We hope Wanda can come back probably next week. We welcome him to come here anytime to talk about that. But I said something on Focus on Liberia last night. Liberia is a country that has been governed by the rule of impunity for years, for centuries. We have two different systems. We have one for the ordinary people, and we have one for the people in government, any government at the time. So any country that is governed that way, that country is bound not to make progress. So that has actually marked our underdevelopment for over a century. So I think like Darlington said, all we're doing here is basically speak truth to our consciences. That's all we're doing. I mean, we're speaking truth to both our comrades, our fellow citizens, as well as those in power. Yep. That's all we're doing here. Because tomorrow, in the future, this is a digital footprint. Some people will be watching this video 100 years from now when we are even gone from the face of earth. They'll say, oh,
yep,
there were Liberians during that time who spoke on these issues, but why people didn't listen to them? That is exactly what we're doing here. Pierre Lumumba, who is today's one of Africa's most prolific orator, Pierre Lumumba. Mm-hmm. Actually, I acted with him when I worked in Kenya during 2002 elections. He was rejected. He was not elected, but he's loved, and one time he gave a speech. He said, I was not elected because I was speaking against tribalism. I was speaking against the dominance of Raila Odinga in Western Kenya, the Luo, the Odinga Kingdom. You don't speak against Raila Odinga and you survive in Western Kenya. You will not be elected. And he said when he lost, as a professor of law, some of the students who are Luo went to him and said, Professor, you are a very good man. You lost that election because you didn't want to join Raila party. This is exactly what is happening in Liberia. People want us to go to one side. If you don't go on one side, your brain is locked. You lack logic. Everything you say is...
The brain stopped working. Yep.
It is sad. And for me,
yep,
I'm happy that at least I can wake up in the morning here and go and get my 1-2-1-2.
Kalibo, let me say this. Let me say this, Kalibo. I've been I'm a pretty young man, but I've been around Liberian politics for some time. And I've seen time without numbers how our people take political decisions. And if you want to look back to see how the people have been voting, when Mr. Taylor came, they say you know both, and you came on man, you came on power, I will vote for you. When Master Sergeant Doe took over, Native woman born soldier, Congo woman born rural. The politics of slogan have always permeated the Liberian society. When we go to these elections, we don't debate the issues. Joseph Boyka said, think Liberia, love Liberia, and build Liberia. We are not asking the hard question about how you want to build this country. When you ask that question, and then the people see you as being extreme or going against their popular decision. When Mr. Weah came, you know, boy, you not know, boy, will vote for you. Okay, monkey, wait, baboon des. A lot of young people today that I see in the opposition who are now the one clamoring change, some of them writing articles, exposing people here and there. When Mr. Weah came in 2014, Calibo, they were on George Weah's senatorial campaign. They was campaigning for George Weah. They must tell the people that too. That you wrote over 100 reasons why George Weah should be elected as senator. Now you made him senator and potentially he's president. You are writing 100 reasons why Weah should not be re-elected. That is the tragedy of our society. That when people see through people and have the opportunity to advise, certain elements don't want to listen. But for some of us in the diaspora, and there is no arrogance. And I see some of my friends here in America on this live feed. Let us be truthful to our people because where we live, we see government and public sector work for us. I don't know who is the representative from my place, but I see my roads paid because I pay my taxes. Why can't it happen in our country? Our children in the society will go to bed with our food. But it is the poor people's children in Nuku Town, in Sekempa, in Bopley. Those are the indigenous people children who will go to bed with our food. Kalibo. And the reason why we struggle is to prevent our children from going to bed with our food. Because we are in a society where we don't have to beg for bread. We just look at the society and advise. But where Liberia is heading, it's very dangerous. I am not saying that Ambassador Boyka is extremely bad, but the caliber of people that Ambassador Boyka is bringing on his rescue train, the Liberian people should ask him the hard question. Because the reason why Calibo, every flight has two pilots is because there are cases where pilot number one may be sick, it may not be able to lend us to safety, and pilot number two takes over. The Liberian people should pay attention to who is pilot number two of their changed vehicle. If they gamble the future of this country, for some of us, will be here like the midwife in the villages. We'll offer our shoulder to the people to cry on. Thank you. I don't know what Calibo you have anything to say, but that is done from my end.
No, I don't have anything to add. In fact, I'm getting ready to go to my wellness visit this morning. I'm going to see my doctor this morning. So I think we'll end right here.
Thank you, Calibo.
So George has sent you a text message.
Okay.
Well, where is Boyka? Is he gone? He's going to defend. He's going to find information from Spoon.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Enjoy
your weekend, Darlington. Enjoy your day.
All right, Calibo. But my man George, thank you, man, for all you do behind the scene, producing the show. Thank you, George.
All right.
Okay, you're welcome.
So, George, do you care to say hi is Aaron? Hi is Aaron this morning? Did you see him?
Harry is okay, doing well. Yes, Harry is okay, doing well. If you see the man, the more than I said, the man smiling every day, the man happy.
Wow, okay. Because we had a rumor that he was boo and turned out not to be true. So.
Oh, I mean, it's okay. It's okay.
All right.
I'll reach out to him today. And then we'll probably talk.
All right.
All right.
Okay, Dino.